Richfield High, its empty halls echoing like a tomb. The clock on the wall struck 11:57 p.m. Inside room 13, for students sat in an uneasy silence. This was detention. The night supervisor, Miss Carter, stood near the chalkboard, her glasses catching the faint glow of the emergency light. Everyone stays until midnight, she said, her voice sharp. Phones away and be quiet. The students glanced at each other. Ryan, the rebel, just smirked. Emma, shy and pale, nervously twisted a silver ring on her finger. Logan, the jock, was trying to hide his phone, scrolling under the desk. And then there was Chloe. She just stared at the classroom door, like she was waiting for someone or something to walk right through it. The clock ticked. 11:58. Outside, the wind howled through the cracked windows. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from down the hall. A locker had just slammed shut. Ryan grinned. Probably the janitor's ghost, he said. Nobody laughed. Miss Carter frowned and walked towards the hallway. Stay here, she ordered. Don't move. Her heels clicked out of sight, and a heavy silence fell over the room. I heard this place used to be a morgue, Emma whispered. Before it was a school. Logan rolled his eyes. That's just a story, Em. Chill out. But Chloe's gaze never left the door. No, she said softly. It's true. My mom used to be a cleaner here. She told me this whole wing was built over the original hospital basement. They called it Ward D, for the departed. Just then, the lights flickered and dimmed. The clock ticked to 11:59. A faint, scraping sound came from behind them. Everyone whipped around. On the chalkboard, words were appearing letter by letter, all by themselves. Stay after class. Ryan jumped to his feet. All right, who's messing around? But no one was moving. The piece of chalk clattered to the floor. Then they heard it. The soft shuffle of shoes in the hallway. It wasn't Miss Carter's heels. It was something lighter, almost like bare feet on the cold floor. The lights flickered violently. Chloe stood up, her voice a terrified whisper. She's coming. Who? Emma asked. The one who never checked out, Chloe replied. The hallway went pitch black. A cold breath of air swept through the doorway as if the room itself had just inhaled. Then a bell rang, dot ding, dot ding, dot ding. But it wasn't the school bell. The sound was wet and metallic like a funeral chime. That's it. I'm out of here, Ryan declared. He grabbed his bag, swung the door open and froze. The hallway was gone. In its place was an endless, dark corridor with green exit signs that seemed to lead nowhere. Rows of empty desks lined the darkness, filled with shadows that looked like students, all sitting motionless. Ryan's voice trembled. Miss Carter, a whisper answered, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. She's not the teacher anymore. Ryan stumbled back into the room. Something brushed past his legs, small, cold fingers. He let out a scream. The lights flickered on, again revealing Miss Carter standing in the doorway. But something was horribly wrong. Her eyes were completely white. Her neck was bent at an impossible angle. A chilling, monotone smile spread across her face. Everyone stay seated. She stepped inside, leaving wet footprints on the floor. Behind her, shadowy figures of children in old-fashioned uniforms followed, their eyes hollow and empty. What do you want from us? Emma cried. Miss Carter's head tilted. Attendance. The chalkboard behind her wiped itself clean. Then it began writing names. Emma, Ryan, Logan, Chloe. Below them, another name appeared. Miss Carter. And then one more started to form slowly. YOU. A cold gust of wind blew through the room and the windows cracked under the pressure. The emergency light turned blood red. This is crazy. We're getting out, Logan yelled. Grabbing a chair, he smashed it against the window, but behind the broken glass was solid brick. You can't leave after the bell, Chloe said. What the hell does that mean? Ryan shouted. Chloe's voice changed, becoming deeper layered. Ancient, it means they already took attendance. Everyone stared at her. In the reflection of the glass, Chloe wasn't wearing her own clothes anymore. She was in an old 1950 school uniform with blood dripping from her collar. We never got dismissed, she said with an eerie smile. The desks around them began to scrape across the floor, closing it. Ryan tried to run, but pale, ghostly hands shot out from under the desks, grabbing his ankles and dragging him screaming into the darkness. We have to finish detention, Emma shrieked at Logan. That's what they want. The funeral bell rang again 12 times. Midnight. Time's up, Miz. Carter said. The lights exploded, plunging the room into total darkness and silence. Then they flickered back on. Only Emma was was left trembling in her seat. The others were gone. On the chalkboard, a single line remained, Emma present. Then her name slowly faded away, replaced by one word, welcome. The camera pulls back, out of the classroom and down the hall. We see Miss Carter walking away, leading for new shadowy figures in old uniforms. Their faces are blank, their eyes glowing a faint, ghostly white. The old school bell echoes one last time through the empty halls. A whisper seems to ride the wind. Detention never ends. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more chills. Stay safe out there. Sound of a distant, heavy clock striking midnight, echoing slightly. The clock struck midnight. Again, they all swore it had stopped hours ago, but here it was, ticking away in the suffocating silence of the school hallway. I stood there, frozen, beam from my phone trembling in my hand on the screen. The video I'd just taken was still playing on a loop. It showed me walking down this exact hall, but behind me there was something else, a tall, blurred figure, almost human. But when I moved in the video, its reflection in the trophy case glass stood perfectly still. A faint, close whisper is heard late again. Miss Harper, detention is still in session. My head whipped around. The corridor was empty. The emergency lights flickered, bathing everything in strobing red and white, creating the illusion of something lunging toward me. With every flash, I stumbled backward. My eyes locked on room 13. The detention hall. The door was open now. It wasn't before. Inside, the room had changed. The desks were perfectly arranged, papers stacked neatly as if class was about to begin. But every single chair was filled with faint, transparent outlines of students who weren't there, yet were. They all stared at the blackboard, motionless, waiting, whispering hello in perfect unison. Every single head turned toward me. My phone slipped from my grasp, clattering to the floor. Its light flashed up the walls as I scrambled backward. None of them moved from their seats, but the whispers started again. This time, it was dozens of voices, all layered, chanting the same phrase. Layered whispers, stay after class, stay after class. I ran, my footsteps pounded against the floor, but another sound echoed behind me, heavier. Slower footsteps that weren't mine. I ducked into the science wing, the oldest part of the school. The air here was colder, heavier. Every door was locked, except one, the lab. Inside, everything was covered in a thick layer of dust. Beakers, old books, forgotten microscopes. In the corner, a faint hum. My phone, lying back in the hallway, suddenly buzzed. A notification lit up its cracked screen. An unknown number. One single line. We never left. Sound of a heavy door creaking shut. The lab door slammed shut behind me. The lights flickered dot once, dot twice. When they steadied, someone was sitting on a lab stool across the room. Boy, wearing an old school uniform, his head bowed. Hey, I started, my voice barely a whisper. Are you okay? He didn't answer. I took a cautious step forward. Slowly, he lifted his head and a cold, empty smile spread across his face. Are you new here? He asked, his voice chillingly calm. I don't go here, I stammered. He nodded slightly. Neither do we, not anymore. My stomach dropped. I lunged for the door, but the handle was frozen solid. It wouldn't budge. From the shadows behind me, a girl's voice spoke. You can't leave without signing the book. I turned. On the teacher's desk lay a single torn ledger covered in chalk dust. The same one I'd seen in room 13. The one listing the names of students who vanished in 1998. My name wasn't there before, but it was now, written in pale, white chalk. No, I didn't write this. The boy's voice was closer now. You didn't have to. The bell decides. A long, low, metallic bell tone rings out, vibrating through the floor suddenly. I wasn't in the lab anymore. I was back in Detention Hall. The air was thick like fog. The chalkboard glowed faintly, new words etched onto its surface. Lesson 2, acceptance. Desks began to scrape across the floor, turning on their own to face me. One desk in the front row open in silent invitation. Just want to go home, I cried. The teacher's voice replied from everywhere and nowhere. This is home now. I fell to my knees as the whispers grew into a roar. That chalkboard began writing on its own, glowing letters carving themselves into the slate. Detention never ends until the truth is learned. What truth? I screamed. What do you want from me? The lights flickered violently, then every been the same students, choking, clawing at locked doors as smoke filled the room. The fire, the one the school never talked about. They never escaped. A pause. Then the teacher's calm, chilling voice right beside my ear. And now, so are you. I spun around and saw my reflection in the window, but it wasn't me. It was wearing the old uniform. It was smiling. The lights went out completely. When I awoke, sunlight streamed through the windows. The school was silent. My phone was on the floor, its screen shattered. But the timestamp read 1998. I stumbled into the hall. It was clean, polished, with posters from decades ago. Through the front doors, I saw students in faded uniforms. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. My reflection in the glass smiled back at me. A school bell rings, the students outside froze. Every head turned slowly to face me, and in perfect, horrifying unison, they all whispered, "Welcome back, Miss Harper." Faint sound of chalk scratching on a blackboard.